What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today we're going to be comparing two different attempts at the same watch. So this is the Hydra Conquest homage. We have one from Guanqin and one from Pagani. Question is, which is better? That's what we're going to be finding out today. So if you've never seen watch wars before, there are 10 categories, 10 points each category. The winner is the one with the most points at the end. So the first category is the design. And obviously both don't score that high because they're not entirely original watches. Apart from, well, the Pagani's done something a little bit different with the design, which I'll talk more about now. So the Pagani has changed up the dial a little bit to compared to the original. So if you've seen my review of this one, you'll know that Pagani has added a vertical brushed effect to the dial, whereas the Guanqin sticks with the more, traditional sunburst dial. I actually prefer the dial on this one, but I prefer other elements from the Guanqin. Most notably the date window. So I think on the Pagani it's a little bit small and it just doesn't sort of fit the design that well, whereas Guanqin have got it just about right. With the bordered window, I just think it looks a little bit more cohesive. Even though, I'd rather have no date window, I think Guanqin has done it a little bit better. I also prefer the shade of blue used on the Guanqin as well on the dial. But, the other elements are, quite similar. I mean, we've got circular indices there, and then we've got a mix there. So I don't think these are exactly the same reference. But they are both Hydra Conquests, as you can tell by the 12, 6 and 9 applied numerals. And all the others are applied as well. The handsets are pretty much identical, Longines style, high polish, slightly beveled, so they just play with the light nicely. Crown guards are more akin on the Guanqin to the original Longines, and as is the crown as well. One of my complaints about this one, they got the crown wrong, it's too small. Whereas Guanqin just got it about bang on. But again, there's elements I like off this one that I don't like on this one, and vice versa. So next up, we're going to talk build and finish. And the Guanqin actually edges ahead with 7.5 to the Pagani's 6.5. And the reason is because I just think the Guanqin is slightly better finished. The printing on the bezel insert is a little bit cleaner. The dial is a little bit cleaner. It's got an applied logo, which looks very nicely done. We've got very, very nice quality brushing, all brushed bracelet, which is my preference. Whereas the Pagani, sticks with a polished mid-link. I don't really like that at all. I'd rather have a full brushed, because this is going to tarnish and look bad over time. Whereas this one, you can fix it a lot easier. Looking at, the side profile, both are, pretty much the same. I actually do prefer the Pagani's a little bit more, just because those lugs do downturn a little bit more. But I also prefer the crown and thingy arrangement on this one. If I can just get the Pagani to sit right. There we go. So yeah, I just prefer how Guanqin have done that. And I think the finishing is slightly better on the Guanqin as well. Case backs, both really well done. You can see them both in my review. And there's the Pagani's, and there is the Guanqin's. So I think the Pagani's got the better case back, but in terms of actual finishing, I just think the Guanqin just ever so slightly edges it. The brushing just feels a little bit nicer quality. Ooh, that's upside down. The polishing is just a little bit nicer done. So yeah, that's why the Guanqin just edges it. So moving on to the bracelet, and it's a very, very similar story with the Guanqin taking the ever so slight win with 7-6. And that is down to, the quality of the finishing and the quality of the bracelet as well. I just think the Guanqin is done a little bit better. The edges are a little bit smoother. The end link fits, they fit pretty well on both actually, so I can't really deduct any points there. But the main reason why this scores a little bit better is because, well, we've got brushed sides, which is very, very nice. It just adds a bit more of a premium feel to it. And then we've got a brushed side of the clasp. And the clasp is just a little bit better on this Guanqin as well. Because obviously we've got those two pushers. And then if you pop it down, you can see we have a full diver's extension, which is really nice to see. And that just closes that. It's really, really nice and easy to use. As you can see, if you don't push it down properly, it does pop open of its own accord. Nice milled, all brushed, and it's just a really good quality. I also like the finishing and also the branding. So taking a look at the Paganis, you can see they've done a slightly different thing and give us this. Looks really nice, but you know, there's no micro adjust, no diver's extension or anything. Look, you can just see it's just fixed. I mean, it looks great, but it's just kind of not very well thought out, to be fair. I mean, I like the design. You can also see the badge is slightly wonky as well, which is why it's got a little bit of points sort of knocked off. Articulation is good on both, but I just think again the Guanqin has done a better job with the bracelet. So moving on to comfort, and the Guanqin takes the win again with a narrow victory. And the reason why is just, well, it's just a better feeling. I think the articulation is slightly better, the clasp is more comfortable, and it's better finished as well, so it's not as rough against your skin, and it just fits better as well than the Pagani. This is just too tight. Obviously, with there being no micro adjust, you can't really do anything. This one doesn't have micro adjust either, which is a little bit annoying. But I think it just fits a little bit better, and it's more comfortable to wear. So moving on to the loom, and the Guanqin takes the win again. Now the Pagani is decent, it's not incredible, it's not, you know, anything special, but the Guanqin edges it just because it's slightly better loom and it has a full loomed bezel. Again, you know, they're not impressive either of them, to be quite fair, but the Guanqin is ever so slightly better. So moving on to the movement, and it's another win for the Guanqin. This is using a Seiko NH35. This is using a Miyota 8215. The Seiko is just better. It's quieter, it's more robust, and it's just a better movement. I mean, the Miyota's good, but it's just a little bit noisy, and it doesn't feel as nice in use, whereas the NH35, you know, just feels great compared to this one. So moving on to the water resistance, and the Pagani takes a slight win here. This has 200 meters, this has 100 meters, so it gets an extra point. Now the reason why obviously is because it's got slightly better water resistance. Both have got screw down crowns and screw down case backs, which helps. To be honest, I wouldn't trust either of these, taking them diving. Swimming, I'd say you'd probably be fine with both. But yeah, I wouldn't take them diving, to be quite fair. I don't think they're, although they dive watch style, I don't think they're proper dive watches. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, it could survive 200 meters, but yeah, I wouldn't be too sure about that. Next category is availability. Both of them get, you know, a 7. And the reason why is because, well, they're just easy to get a hold of. The Guanqin have sort of stepped up production on these, and you can actually get hold of them a lot easier now. Paganis, you know, they're just available all over AliExpress pretty much all day long. Loads of sellers have both, so that's why they score 7. So now we're going to move on to the brand, arguably probably the least important category out of them all. But yeah, brand, I've given them both exactly the same score, and I don't really think the brands carry that much weight either. Both of them aren't the nicest sounding brands. I do like Guanqin's logo a little better, but then again, that's a little bit similar to Longines, so you could say they did copy that there, but I do prefer it to the Pagani. I just wish they'd get rid of the text though and just have the logo. I just think it looks much nicer. And Pagani just, I mean, its name sort of carries a little bit of weight because, you know, they're known for making decent quality affordable watches, but in terms of how they both sound, it's not good for either of them, to be fair. I think there's definitely better sounding brand names on watches from AliExpress. So now we're going to get onto the final category, and that is price. So this one I believe is around £100. You can get it around 95, I've seen it at. This one is between 70 to 80, and obviously it scores better because, well, I think it's a better watch and it's cheaper. So yeah, that's why the Guanqin takes this category. So overall scores you can see on screen now, and the Guanqin does win, and I think there's a good reason for that. I think it's just a better watch overall. The bracelet's better, it's better finished, it's better built, it's got better loom. I think the design, even though I prefer the dial on the Pagani, is just more cohesive and it just really works together. And it's the closest to the original Longines. So if you really like that Longines look and can't afford one, then this is probably the closest you're going to be able to get to one of them. And yeah, it's more affordable, and I think it's just a better watch in my opinion. You know, it ticks a lot of the boxes that the Pagani just doesn't. My only big complaint about this is the lack of micro adjust. I mean, you can see it's a very nicely designed clasp, but you know, there's just no way to size it properly. There's no half links either. Oh, in fact, there is one half link. Mine is thingy though. So you see, there is a half link, but you know, it's not the easiest to adjust. And it definitely needed more to get a better fit. Or they could have just put a few micro adjusts on it, and it would have been a much better fitting watch for more people. But other than that small complaint, I think it's the best Hydra Conquest homage I've seen, and I've had the Bleeger as well as that one now, and this one just stands above both of them. I just think it's the best all-rounder out of them all. So this is the one I'd go for if I was going to pick one, the Guanqin. Let me know if you have the same thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you enjoyed it, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads, and of course follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again, I'll see you soon.